What's going on, guys? Just wanted to make this video of me modifying this Zyliathor Go-kart, doing a little 6-inch stretch on it. Apologize for all the dog noises you may hear in the background, but that was with the factory seat, and you could kind of see where my knees were, how close they are to the handlebars. This was a much more comfortable seat I wanted to put on. And you see how much closer my knees are even there. That was just to give you a little visual of how everything is before. And let me tell you that seat is a lot more comfortable. All right, so here's the first step. We removed the seat, removing all the wires, trying to zip tie it and get it out of the way. I eventually ended up just disconnecting everything. It ended up being a lot easier on me. There, I was just marking my cuts, and then here I am working on getting it all cut in half. A little bit of a pain to get in there with that angle grinder. Don't mind the lack of PPE. I have glasses on at least. And there we go. Cut in half. This was my idea. The DOM tubing I bought was a little thicker than what I needed. My plan was to slide this inside of the tubing that the cart has. So I'm just kind of like a makeshift lathe, if you will. Just slowly right there, checking it with some calipers to get the right outside diameter. Marking it up with that Sharpie, so I know where to take off the extra metal. And I had to do 4 of these, 2 of them, 2 per side. See right there, the bottom was a little bit bigger than that top section. Yeah, that's just me cleaning out, deburring the inside. There was also some leftover weld marks, I guess, on the inside from the factory where they welded it. So I was just cleaning up the insides there. My little homemade jig, long piece of pipe with a slit in it and sandpaper. Smooth out that inside, clean up any little imperfections. There, I was just checking the depth of how far it would go in. I think I ended up taking apart a little more metal, but here's a little test fit. It was much better already. Just had the top pieces done. Yeah, see right there, about a 6-inch stretch. All right, and here I'm making out of some square tubing. It's new braces or mounts for the new seat since they have a completely different mounting location. Plan here was 2 of them running vertically with the cart up and down. Had to weld it to a circular part of or round part of the cart. So here I am just putting a little edge on that so the butts of my welds end up a little closer, a little easier to weld. There I am getting it mocked up. There you see how the seat mounts right there, those 4 bolt holes. A little bit of metal prep work before I start welding. All right, here we are welding. Hopefully you don't see the weld in this video. They're not the prettiest, but you know, just sticking 2 pieces of metal together. As long as it holds together, it'll be all right. Yep, and there I am cleaning it up, buffing it all down. This was how I ended up cutting the DOM tubing. These were the thinner section for those top pieces you saw. And this one was also too wide. I did the same thing with the pipe on the inside and right there. Grounded each side down. And this one I was a little bit smarter. I didn't grind the entire thing, just the depth of the part that was going in. Hindsight, I should have done that with the first one. Didn't think about it till now, but you can see right there I'm checking the depth of fit on both of them and they look great. The other thing I wanted to do here was add a little more strength to the weld instead of just on the end. So each side right here I'm just cutting into the side, and I run a bead along that as well to give a little more strength. Here I am trying to align the front and the rear together. This video sped up quite a bit because it took me every bit about 7-10 minutes to get this lined up. Since the top and the bottom weren't exactly perpendicular with each other, I had to bend them some to get them to fit, but eventually I did. Measured out 6 inches on both sides and then started tacking everything into place. And then here I am finishing up all the welding. Like I said, I'm no welding expert, so I hope you can't see them. Hope you don't look too close at them. It's all right because they got grinded down and painted over, so hopefully nobody will ever see them. All right, this next thing I'm going to show you, it wasn't actually part of the kart stretch, but I made these new arms that connect to the rear axle to the chassis of the 4-link suspension. I'm just unwiring the motor to separate everything, but I had made some out of this DOM tubing, and these are little insertable, weldable bungs with threads on the inside where I use Heim joints to connect everything. The issue I had with the old ones, they're made out of the cheaper Chinese metal, if you're familiar with these Zyliathor carts, and they use just rubber bushings to connect everything. Well, I had bent mine, so I needed to come up with a solution, and this DOM tubing was the answer. This stuff is much thicker and heavier duty, and it's not going to bend on me, but there I was just removing them because I was excited to get it going, and I never painted them. So I figured now is a great time to do it. Here I was just wiping everything down, getting it ready for some primer. I think this whole next section is me just painting the cart and the 4-link arms, getting everything prepped up. Yeah, I think I ran maybe 4 or 5 coats of primer. There I was getting all the rust off of the arms that they were never protected by anything. I just was ready to get out and go on it. So there I was just cleaning up each individual one, wiping it down, getting it ready for some paint. And then after I had everything all sanded down, here I was just taping up the threaded part, the nut, and the Heim joint so I don't get any paint on any of those. Got them strung up here. Got them all wiped down. Here I am just applying the primer once again, just like I did on the cart. 4 or 5 coats on each. Make sure got a nice good coat of primer on there before I start painting. There it is, the color that I used. I actually found this at Home Depot. It wasn't color matched or anything. I just brought in a scrap piece of the cart that I had cut off and matched it to a can. It came out matching really close. Went ahead here and decided on black for the arms. Just a little bit of color difference. Figured it'd look nice. There they are, all finished up. Got a nice shine to them. I really like the way those came out. And here I think the rest of the video is just me reattaching everything. Got it sped up. Same thing before. Instead of taking everything apart, I'm just putting everything back together in the same order. Making sure to use Loctite, because definitely had one of those screws back out. And if that fell off while you're driving, would definitely not be a fun time. So definitely use Loctite. It'll save you. Go. Luckily, whenever I wired this cart, I never really had stretching it in my mind, but luckily I left plenty of slack in all the wires to let this happen without needing to redo any of the wires. They all fit. Here I am attaching the seat. Drilled 4 holes in those square tubing that I mounted earlier. I didn't drill them in the perfect location, so it was a little fight to get them in the right spot. Here I am also wiring everything back up, all my plugs, zip tying it up, trying to keep it nice and tidy. And here's the final result. Just me testing everything, making sure I have all my wires put back in the same location. Everything's painted, battery is mounted. I don't have my battery tray, my clip on the top, but everything fits like before. I cut out a new skid plate to mount in that location, so it covers that bigger area there now, but everything fits. Seat folds down. The back of it actually rests on that right there. All right, and here's the first test drive with the stretch on it. Overall, handling wise, I don't really notice much of a difference. The main deal for me is it's comfortable. It is so much more comfortable to ride this way. Your legs have room. And I'm not even a tall person. I'm like 5'8", but it feels so much better not being all jammed up in there. So that's pretty much it for the voiceover. Just enjoy the rest of this video of me taking it out for his first rip. Right, here's the final shot. Everything all finished up. There's a little stretch in it right there. So it's after taking it out for a ride. Check the other rides in the back. The Arctic Leopard, the XE Pro S. Thing's a blast. And then the big boy, YZ 450. Electric converted as well. Let me know if y'all want to see a video about that. This bike is a blast.